right, Tua Tagovailoa has been trying to prove to NFL teams that his hip has fully recovered heading into the NFL draft on Thursday. Tua has posted videos from private workouts and has appeared to be fine, but former NFL head doctor David Chow said that he would give Tua less than a 10% chance to play a full season in 2020. Shannon, Tua's your guy. How much does this information scare you?
Not at all. Because of the 32 starting quarterbacks that opened the season last year, only 13 started every single game, Skip, and another 3 sought out for rest in week 17. So only half made it through. Only one rookie quarterback has started all 16 games over the last 3 years, and that was last year. That was Kyler Murray. So the likelihood of that Joe Burrow or Herbert or Jordan Love, of any of them starting all 16 games. But he also said a lot of this has to do with his playing style, trying to extend plays. Skip, you know, the more you try to extend the play, the better, the greater your chances are getting injured. He's going to have to learn to get rid of the football. That's why they're trying to teach Lamar Jackson. Lamar, sometimes you got to know when the journey's over. Don't worry about that extra 2 yards. Get out of bounds. Get down. Don't take that shot. And so I think he's going to probably have to change some of his playing style, get rid of the ball, live to see another day. Skip, every play can't be extended, and you make something positive out of it. Sometimes you just throw the ball away or you check it down. But, Skip, I believe he has the most impressive tape over the totality of his college career of any player, of any quarterback in this draft. I'm not worried about that because there's a chance even if he didn't have injuries. Skip, you remember Deshaun Watson tore his knee. Deshaun Watson has an injury history coming. How's he been? You don't pass that talent up, Skip. It's too good of a talent to pass up. Now, Miami, you made that mistake one time before with Drew Brees. Hopefully you've learned your lesson, but it doesn't look like you have. Maybe it's all a smoke screen, Skip, to keep people from moving up. But I believe if Tua's there at 5, I believe the Dolphins are going to take him. And I would take him, and I wouldn't think twice about taking him.
Okay, quick point of order. Drew Brees had a shoulder injury, and that was all that was wrong with him, just one injury. And he's been mostly injury-free. I know he hurt his thumb that he hit on the helmet at L.A. 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. But in general, Drew Brees has been very healthy in the National Football League. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me get this straight once and for all. You're saying if you had, hypothetically, the #1 overall pick, if Shannon Sharpe had that pick, Shannon Sharpe would still take Tua #1 overall in this draft?
I would. Yes, especially if I needed a quarterback. Yes, I'm taking him because I believe he's the best. I believe he's the best quarterback in this draft. Absolutely, Skip.
Okay, after all you've seen and all you've heard about Tua's injury history, to me, this smacks of stubborn pride or maybe even foolish pride on your part. I know you're a fan of this kid, and he's a good kid, and he's got a terrific release, and he has a flair for pulling off, to me, tight window throws that are sort of Aaron Rodgers-esque, where you say, wow, that was some arm talent throw where he pulled out. It takes a little swagger, a little bit of chutzpah. It takes a little bit of savvy and feel and supreme self-confidence to pull off some of the throws this young man has pulled off at Alabama. But when you think about the injury history, I keep thinking of what you've always told me, hurt in college, hurt in the pros. And it's just such a litany. It's such a long list. And I've said this before, I want to say it one more time because I respect his knowledge. Rex Ryan said on ESPN that he was told, I assume by another coach or GM in the league that he knows very well, that the intel is that Tua had 5 surgeries while he was in college. And we've talked about this litany before, but he did have a broken nose, which was also a concussion. And then he broke the index finger on his throwing hand, which required a surgery. And then here we went into, he had a sprained knee, and I'm going to assume that it required a scope, maybe to clean out some torn cartilage. Then he pulled his quad badly and missed games with that. and then he had both ankles tightrope surgery, which can be dicey on both, not just one, but both sides. And then he capped it off with a hip surgery on a fractured hip that it's really dangerous and career-threatening. He looks fine now in the video. The problem now, he's become the biggest X factor maybe in draft history because as part of the quarantine we're in, each team doctor can't have a hands-on examination of Tua. They have the information from one general doctor, but now we have a former head doctor in the NFL saying, gee, to me, his odds of making it through his rookie year, if he was a starting quarterback, would be between 1% and 9% that he would make it through unscathed. Well, it's so many injuries that you at some point have to term a player, as you know, you played with a lot of them, I've covered a lot of them, they're brittle, they're fragile, they're eggshells, they're paper mache. They just somehow have a knack for completing passes and getting hurt. And I saw a lot of tape of him. I watched a lot of games on TV of Tua where after so many injuries, I saw him get a little flinchy, a little antsy, a little jittery, predictably, because, man, you get beat up so much, you get hit one time and here this goes and here that goes and another surgery that you lose some of your courage, because you're just human. So, Shannon, there are just too many big games. There were 3 big games in which he didn't play great. I'll just leave it at that. And he was throwing to 4 receivers who could be first-round picks. It's like a track team of route-running speedsters. And he was playing behind, I believe, the best offensive line over the last 3 years in college football. It's loaded with high picks, and some will be in this draft.
No. See, there you go doing that again, Skip. You didn't have a problem with Baker Mayfield when he was throwing to Hollywood Brown and CeeDee Lamb, and he had the #1 offensive line in football. You didn't have a problem when Kyler Murray was throwing to CeeDee Lamb and had the #1 and Joe Burrow with all those receivers and had the #1 offensive line. It's only Tua. Skip,
no.
I believe the ankle surgeries were elective because he had those surgeries not to speed up the process of healing. And so, Skip, it's kind of like me in '96. I had the nerve in my left ankle, I had it deadened because I wanted to speed up the process of it healing. Skip, I didn't have to have it. I could have just waited, gutted it out, but this sped up the process. I mean, let me tell you what happened, Skip, and you know this. If you hurt something on your lower leg, what you start to do is compensate. You start to walk funny. It's kind of like having a flat tire. Well, if you drive around on a flat tire for an extended period of time, you're going to mess up something other than the rim on that car. You're going to mess up the lining, be it the front or the rear. And that's what happens, Skip. If you have ankle injuries, that everything. So now you start walking funny, you mess up your knee, and you mess up your hips. Now, your quads, trust me, I know. I've had dealt with ankle injuries a large part of my career when I played, Skip, and my hips and my knees. That's probably why my knees and my hips bother me now. Going to have a hip replacement at some point in time in the not too distant future. But I believe his playing style has lent itself to him getting more injured than he probably should have. He's going to have to learn, like Tom Brady, like these other quarterbacks, it's okay to throw the ball away. You don't necessarily have to make every single play. Now, obviously, Skip, there are going to be times you have to stand in the pocket, look down the barrel, and throw the ball. Take one right to the chops. But you don't need to do that on a consistent basis because you set yourself up to being injured. I have no concerns. Just like most quarterbacks, Skip, at some point in time will get injured in their career. Rookie quarterbacks normally do not play all 16 games in their rookie season. So if he doesn't, he would not be unique in that manner. But his talent, him and the kid from Oregon, Skip, it's not close. It is not close.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't even know what people talk.
I got it. I agree.
The only reason, and if you want to say, Skip, well, he's injury prone, but Skip, here's the thing. They failed Drew Brees because you said it was his shoulder. That was the only time he had been injured. But they said there was a 10% chance that he would be back. Peyton Manning, everybody said there's only a 10% chance. The Broncos said, we'll take that 10% chance. That's good enough for us. Skip, you don't pass. Skip, this talent is just too good. Injury. But look at the injury.
I got it.
The injury was to the shoulder.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I got to jump back on the offensive lines. I'll bet you 100 cases of Diet Dew that the Alabama offensive line will have more high picks than the LSU offensive line, and that they'll have way more high picks than the Oklahoma lines have had of the last 3 or 4 years. There weren't that many high picks. They were a good unit, and they did a good job of protecting Baker and Kyler. I give you that. They did a nice job, and they were rated very high. But they weren't stopped from side to side with with first-round picks. It wasn't like that. This Alabama line is loaded with high picks, as you're about to see.
Well, I think the thing is, Skip, they might have more high picks, but I think when you evaluate an offensive line, you must evaluate it in its totality. You just can't say, well, they have the best left tackle in the country, therefore they have the best offensive line in football. You have to look at it in its totality and look at it from left to right, from left tackle to right tackle. And that's why LSU rated so high. That's why Oklahoma, over the last couple of years, had the top offensive line in football. I'm not saying that the Alabama offensive line isn't talented, because I believe Jarrett Willis is going to be a top 10 pick probably. Leatherwood would probably be another top 10, top 15 pick coming out in the left tackle next year. So, Skip, yes, they're talented, but the media and coaches voted that offensive line, LSU, the best in football last year in college football. So that's to be said. But Tua talent is too good to pass up, Skip.
Okay, I got you. But if he can't play, if he's not available to play, it just won't matter. And I'm going to remind you one more time, he's only 6 feet tall. He's built tough. He's built stocky tough because he carries some weight. Was he 215-ish? So he has some stature to him. And yet, I told you when Kyler came out, he's durable. I've never seen him even flinch after getting knocked down. He tends to avoid high contact. Tua has a knack for getting hit and getting hurt. And see it in college, see it on tape, see it in pro football. It just would scare me to death to use a high pick on him. And yet somebody, because he's such an X factor and he is so talented, somebody's going to take the plunge on him. And I say they'll pay the price because ultimately it'll be a wasted pick. And again, Joe Burrow, I'll say it one last time to you, Shannon Sharpe. He did not miss a throw last year. And I agree, he had talent around him and he had protection and he had Joe Brady and a whole new system. He just didn't miss a throw.
Yeah, I remember another guy that didn't miss a throw one year. His name was Sam Bradford. He had Adrian Peterson in the backfield. He had Lane Johnson at a right tackle. He had Gerald McCoy. And how did that work out for him, Skip? So you saying if Tua, if he is injured and can't play, if he's injured and can't play, what if the guy gets selected ahead of him and just can't play? Guess what? No injuries, just can't play.
Go look it up. I said before Sam Bradford's draft, and I'm a University of Oklahoma fanatic, I said he will not be able to stay healthy in pro football, and I would not draft him high. Go look it up.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.